Now, President Trump is the laziest president we've ever had. Not exactly a secret. He never works, barely reads, and doesn't understand policy, nor does he attempt to understand policy. We know that. He's also consistently distracted by things like shiny objects, poll numbers, even his own name, which was hilariously used to try to get him to pay attention to policy briefings, and is overall monumentally lazy. And, of course, according to the New York Times, he is also half-assing his own re-election campaign. Well, that's wonderful. That's great. Now, the newspaper said, quote, in a recent State of the Race briefing in Florida with Brad Parscale, his campaign manager, Mr. Trump, was consistently distracted and wanted to discuss other things than his campaign, according to people familiar with the meeting. When it came to his campaign, his only focus, or his main focus, was basically on his approval numbers. Really. Now, his approval numbers are dismal, as they always been. Even his post-Barr memo bump, gone. Just gone. Now, why is that? Well, it's because Donald Trump is a loser. He's a failure. He hasn't actually done anything to help regular people. Corporations, absolutely. But regular voters, not so much. And that is, of course, a big problem if you're trying to win re-election. What are you going to hang your hat on, right? Now, Mr. Trump, however, if ever, rarely speaks to aides about what he hopes to accomplish with what would be a hard-won second term. His interest is entirely in the president and mostly on the crisis of the moment. Translation, he's got no plans. He's already done, of course, the most important thing. He already won. He won the election once, and he's like, I don't know, I won once, I could win it again, without actually doing any sort of plans. No, but what he doesn't understand is that his campaign was a flash in the pan, right? It was a freak win, and because he was against the most unpopular politician in the country, Hillary Clinton. It was a campaign, it was a contest of two deeply unpopular characters. And he was more popular, still is more popular, than Hillary Clinton. If you can believe it. Now, again, he's not doing anything because A, he's lazy, 2, he's already won, and so in his own head is like, okay, well, I'll just do the same thing that I did before. Come up with stupid nicknames, and then just do basically nothing but go out and rally, right? And other important thing is that he did slash his own taxes. What more is there to do? What other plans does he have? Only to win again for the sake of winning. Which is why, of course, according to the Times, Trump has shown no interest in formulating a new message for his campaign, instead continuing with the winning Make America Great Again slogan from his last race, and adding that he also wants to keep America great. But you can't do both at the same time. You can't make America great again while also keeping America great. Because if you're trying to make America great again, that would assume that America's not great. And so you can't exactly keep America great if it's not great. Does that make any sense? No, of course not. But that's Trump. He makes no sense. He doesn't think about these things. And again, he's too lazy to come up with a plan. And in general, too lazy. And not only that, but he's focused on ridiculous things. When he actually decides he wants to focus on something, when he actually wants to work on something, it's something that nobody really cares that much about. But he does. Let me give you an example. Privately, Mr. Trump has griped about traveling too much, because he's lazy, but then lashed out at aides demanding to know, why am I not doing more rallies? Well, if you're complaining about constantly traveling, then you come, and ask, why am I not doing more rallies? Isn't that a direct contradiction? I'm traveling too much, and yet not enough. Makes no sense. But here's the ridiculous thing. He also insists on having final approval over the songs on his campaign list. Give me the iPod. Okay, we're going to have this song, and we're going to have this one. Okay. Yeah, but what about your message? What about the things that actually make a successful re-election campaign? Can I see the song list again? Oh my God. Here we go. Not only that, but he also wants final approval over the campaign merchandise, while never asking to see a budget for 2019. That's Trump's style in a nutshell. And it's because he does not care. Now look, you could understand maybe why he's not in gung-ho campaign mode. I get it, right? He does have the advantage as an incumbent. And again, they do have an advantage. I mean, to give you an example, Obama did not campaign much in 2011 when he was running for re-election in 2012. In fact, according to David Axelrod, a former top advisor to Mr. Obama, he said, quote, "At this point in the cycle, President Obama was pretty consumed by governing. He was briefed on the startup, but we didn't have our first campaign meeting until the fall of 2011. Okay, so going by that timeline, Donald Trump could be, focused on governing until about September, October, and be perfectly in line with what previous presidents have done. The only difference is Trump doesn't actually care about governing. He doesn't care about policy, doesn't care about governing. He's a one-pager kind of guy. Now that means he does not read past a page, if that. And it's not like his aides haven't tried all sorts of tricks to get him to read his briefings or to read anything. And they even went so far as to pepper his name throughout so that he would pay attention. And this would be even to shorten it to tweet-like length segments. I wonder at this point if his aides just haven't given up. I mean, between that and like the 8 hours of executive time where he does nothing more than watch Fox News while stuffing cheeseburgers into his bloated mouth hole with one hand and tweets out with the other, it is a wonder that anything gets done. Oh, right. It doesn't get done. Which I hope, will hurt him in the election. And if it doesn't, oh boy. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.